When you buy one of these, a Playdate, you're not just buying a quirky little handheld with a crank, you're also purchasing into a season of games. There's 24 games in Season 1 for the Playdate. You get 2 the first time you unlock the device, and then every Monday after that, you get 2 more games delivered for a total of 24 games. And these games are pretty darn good for the most part. They're smaller, they're little indie titles, but some of them are really, really fun, and it's just a really nice device and a really nice catalog of games. But it doesn't end there, because you don't just have to play these official games. There's a whole side-loading community that's already built up around this little device. And so if you go on a site like itch.io and search for Playdate games, or if you go on the Playdate developer forums and see what people are sharing, or I'm sure there's other places to do it, but those are the places I've had the most luck, you can find a whole bunch of games and apps that people are developing and are experimenting with this new little weird device, right? And so these are not going to be the absolute best games in the world. I'm not saying these are going to be game of the year at the end of 2022 or anything. I'm saying they're fun diversions, and if you did buy a Playdate because it was weird and small and cool, and you just wanted to support Panic maybe, these are kind of fun little things that you can use to get a little bit more value from your Playdate. So I've installed a ton of these, I've bought a ton of these. I'm gonna show you the 8 that I think are worth your time and in some cases money. And yeah, let's take a look. Playtris is just what you would expect it is. It's Tetris and it's basic, but it's super rad. It tracks your high score, has the exact Tetris controls you'd expect, and you can even rotate bricks with the crank, although I'd suggest using A and B to rotate them with a bit more control. It's free and it's a solid game every Playdate owner should have. I don't know why, but I'm a sucker for Yahtzee games on every mobile platform, and this is the best version I found for the Playdate. There's a couple, but this I think is the best. The controls are a bit funky, but once you come to terms with them, you'll be going through this game in no time. The anticipation of having a 1, 2, 3, 4 in your hand and praying that the last roll gets a 5 is just something I enjoy, and if you do too, this one will scratch that itch. Bloom is our first totally original game for the Playdate on this list, and it's definitely something different. You play as a character called Midori who just moved into an apartment with a rooftop garden. It's a semi-interactive story that plays out in real time, so you are meant to play over many real-world days, and much like games like Animal Crossing, sometimes there's just nothing left to do until tomorrow. You can buy and sell plants that you grow on your rooftop, and much of the storytelling happens in text messages on your in-game phone. There's a couple games on the phone as well, and they're fun little diversions. This is a weird one, but it's connected with a bunch of people, and in my opinion, it's just the sort of weird game that appeals to the sort of person who would buy a game console with a crank on it. No shade, I'm in that group too. Okay, GameKid is really cool, but it's the first game on this list that's a little bit too janky to recommend to everyone, but it's a pretty cool hint at what's to come. This Game Boy emulator lets you load up Game Boy ROMs on your Playdate and play them. It's a bit weird because the Playdate only has A and B buttons, so you need to rotate the crank to simulate start and select, but that's basically just for pausing, so most of the time it's fine. The real issue that I have is there's some serious issues with the screen updating fast enough to keep up with the action. So games look blurry when you're playing them. The Playdate can handle fast motion, so it's probably just something with the emulator itself and hopefully can be fixed soon. Super Corporate Tax Evader is a stupid game. This is a really stupid game, and you'll probably just play it for a few minutes and kind of get the gist, but you play as a corporate nobody whose only job is to shred files before the authorities know what you're doing. Crank as fast as you can, but make sure you dock the crank before the FBI opens the door to check on you. Again, stupid fun, but it's a game that only works on the Playdate. Audition is the only non-game on this list, and it's basically a file browser and audio player for your Playdate. Want to load up some music and listen like it's 2001? Go for it. I used it to listen to Arcade's Fire New Record, and it really put me in the early 2000s mood, or as I call it, the peak of music, and you can't tell me otherwise. You can also load up animations and images that are encoded specifically for the Playdate, but I don't have any of those, so for me, this is my silly way to listen to music sometimes. Listen, other people like vinyl, I listen on a Playdate, people can be weird. Wordate makes this list only because Wordle is the game that gets ported everywhere these days, and I'm here to say that you can get it and play it on the Playdate. But it's honestly the worst way you could probably play Wordle. Just play it on your phone like everybody else, but try this once for fun just to see how it works. And finally, we have OneBit PacMan, which you may notice is another old game ported to the Playdate, but that's what the Playdate excels at. It has very basic controls, not a ton of power, and it does really well at playing these old-style games. And so if you like Pac-Man, this is a must-play. It's a free game you can get for your Playdate. Everything that I talked about in this video has links in the description, so you can check them out. Most of them are free, only a couple are paid. And yeah, if there's anything else that you're enjoying on your Playdate that you sideloaded on and you want to let other people know about, let them know in the comments. I'd love to find more things, so I'll be reading those as well. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you here next time. Bye-bye.